Insights channel, Steve here. Today I'm going to talk to you about, I don't know if you know about it or not, I'm going to talk to you about the sons of Seth and who they were. Now I have before me one of my books, Eden Insights. I was reading from some of that yesterday. I'm going to read some more from this book about the sons of Seth this time. Now, according to this book, Eden Insights, it tells a story of the righteous side of the family of Adam's descendants on a mountain and the sons of Cain, or the wicked ones, in the valley. Of course, maybe it was true physically, or maybe it's an allegory. It seems to be mostly an allegory, because a lot of those things that it describes would be difficult physically to pull off. But anyway, it's a good allegory. But the point I want to bring out here about the sons of Seth is the Catholic Church came out with a doctrine in the 3rd to 4th century, I think 3rd century after Christ. And because they banned the book of ENOCH in about 354 AD, they banned the book of Enoch, and that was also the time when they banned the doctrine that the Holy Spirit was female, and that was what the early disciples all believed. You can trace it back to the Hebrews. They also believed that the Holy Spirit was female. I certainly do too. All the Christians did until 3rd, 4th century, when the Catholic Church passed the edict, no, that's blasphemous, saying the Holy Spirit's female, that's of the devil, right? And like religions like to do, they twist things around. And they did that in 354 AD. But this is a different topic I'm going to talk about today, because what happened was they had to have a story to speak or say the opposite of what it said in the book Enoch. Actually, it contradicted even Genesis 6. Because what does it say in Genesis 6 in the Bible? It says, when the angels saw the women on the earth were exceptionally beautiful, they lusted after them. I want to quantify that again, because when it says the angels lusted after the beautiful women on the earth, it wasn't any type of women. It was talking about the licentious daughters of Cain. And you can prove it very much by reading this apocryphal book, or the lost books of Adam and Eve. It does a very good job of showing it. And it shows how the origin of evil came onto the planet through seduction. That was one of the things. Another thing was drunkenness. And yesterday I did a class on if you look at Genesis 4, you will see that it talks about Lamech, this guy called Lamech the blind, and his family. And it was Lamech the blind who unfortunately was the guy who got the curse for killing Cain. Remember, God had said that whoever kills Cain should be cursed 7 times. And because Lamech accidentally killed Cain, his great-great-great-grandfather, he got the curse, and so did his children. And were his children cursed? Oh, they were very cursed. In fact, one of the sons of Lamech says Satan entered into him at a very young age. And Satan taught one of the sons of Lamech the blind about every instrument, how to play every instrument. And as I mentioned yesterday, that's because Satan is an expert on music. And according to the book of Ezekiel, he was created full of musical instruments. That's talking about Satan, right? But we're going to move on now, and I'm going to go back to the same chapter I was reading yesterday. Yesterday I said, well, I can't read the whole chapter, but then I thought, maybe I should read some more from this amazing chapter. And the chapter I was reading yesterday was called The Revolt, chapter 99 in my book, Eden Insights. So anyway, got these children of Seth on the mountain, the children of Cain supposedly all down in the valley. But it is not true that the children of Seth, the doctrine of the Catholic Church was that, oh no, it wasn't the fallen angels that came down and had intercourse with the women on the earth. No, it was the children of Seth that came down from the mountain and were with the women or the daughters of Cain. That did happen also, but it's not true that the children of Seth had intercourse with women on the earth and gave birth to giants, as is described very clearly in Genesis 6. Now, the Catholic Church made up that doctrine because they got rid of the book of Enoch. They banned it. For 1,000 years, you could be burned at the stake for having the book of Enoch. You could also be burned at the stake for blasphemy, for saying the Holy Spirit was female. See, they've changed a lot of the truths. The Catholic Church is nothing more than the continuation of the Roman Empire, called the Holy Roman Catholic Church, but unfortunately they are responsible for the murder of millions of people. Saints and all kinds of innocent people they have killed through the last few thousand years. And that's a fact. They've got a lot to answer for, as they do today. Yeah, but that's another topic. But anyway, they reversed everything and they said that what the book of Enoch said is not true. There was no fallen angels, blah, blah, blah. But it was the children of Seth who came down unto the women. Well, I'll read you a bit here about the children of Seth. Here we are then. Here's verse 12 from chapter 99 from my book, Eden Insights. And it says, and when the children of Seth heard the noise, this is the noise of the companies. I'll go back here a couple of verses. Look at this. Then sin increased among them greatly. Talk about the children of Cain, below the mountain where the children of Seth are. Until a man married his own sister. I won't go into all that, it's so gross. Anyway, angered God. This is where terrible evil began. But Ganun, or Jabal, that's his other name. Ganun is his Slavic name. Jabal gathered together companies upon companies that played on horns and on all of other instruments we've already mentioned at the foot of the holy mountain. And he did so in order that the children of Seth who were on the holy mountain should hear it. Comment 22. Satan had total control in the above situation of the sons of Cain. Now he wanted to use them to entice the righteous sons of Seth to come down from their mountainous abode far above them, using musical instruments to seduce them into coming down from their righteous mountain. But when the children of Seth heard the noise, they wondered and came by companies, stood at the top of the mountain to look at those below. And they did this a whole year. And when at the end of the year, Jabal saw that they were being won over to him little by little, Satan entered into him and taught him to make dyeing stuffs for garments of diverse patterns and made them understand how to dye crimson and purple and whatnot. Very interesting, because it mentions in the book of Enoch itself that one of the fallen angels did exactly this. And this is later in time. The fallen angels come a few hundred years after this. And they would teach the women how to beautify themselves, and they would teach the men how to fight and teach them about weapons. But here it's talking about, he taught them to make dyeing stuffs for garments, or in other words, colourful garments for diverse patterns, made them understand how to dye crimson and purple and whatnot. We see that sometime later in the generation of Jared, that fallen angels came to the earth to pollute the earth and its wicked ways even more. And the sons of Cain who wrought all this and shone in beauty and gorgeous apparel gathered together at the foot of the mountain in splendour with horns and gorgeous dresses and horse races, committing all manner of abominations. It doesn't say here who's wearing the gorgeous dresses, men or women. Leave it to your imagination what on earth was going on back there. Meanwhile, the children of Seth, who were on the holy mountain, prayed and praised God in the place of the hosts of angels who had fallen. Therefore God had called them angels, because he rejoiced over them greatly. Now I suspect that this verse here is what the Catholic Church used to make out that it was the children of Seth, not the fallen angels. But it doesn't make sense. You analyze that, it doesn't make sense at all. So that's why you have to watch out with books. The pocket books are good, but sometimes you wonder if somebody has altered something somewhere to fit their, whatever their belief is. The Catholic Church follow non-Enoch books and things. Of course, things have changed in modern times. I know it's different now. You can freely read the book of Enoch today, or other books, or pocket books. It's different today. But anyway, this doctrine, I think, started with maybe even this chapter of this book, making out, look at what it says. Meanwhile, the children of Seth, who were on the holy mountain, prayed and praised God in the place of the host of angels who had fallen. But wherefore God had called them angels, because he rejoiced over them greatly. Oh no, he's not saying that the children of Seth are the fallen angels. He's not saying that. He said God's using the children of Seth to replace the fallen angels who've fallen. That's what he's saying. It's a bit strange though, because in a time parody, well, I suppose the time is blurred before the flood. It's difficult to tell sometimes, because sometimes you can try and pin it down and say, well, this happened in this century and then the fallen age happened later. But this seems to blur the time here with this verse. Anyway, it's interesting. Then it said, God would certainly not call his children angels, as it says in the scriptures that God puts no trust in his angels. Why? Probably because a third of them betrayed him. See, the next chapter concerns the false doctrine of the unrighteous children of Seth. That's right, you need to know about that story. Like I said, about 3rd, 4th century. It was invented by the Catholic Church. You know that the children of Seth were the ones that went down to the women on the earth and not fallen angels, but it's a false doctrine. Easily disproved today. I said that. A doctrine created by the Catholic Church, yeah, that's right. Job 4:18. Behold, he puts no trust in his servants and charges angels with folly. Revelation 12:9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world, was cast out into the earth. His angels were cast out with him. Right, going back to the chapter here. But after this, they no longer kept his commandments, talking about the children of Seth on the mountain, nor held by the promise that he had made to their fathers, but they relaxed from their fasting and praying, and from the counsel of Jared their father, and they kept on gathering together on the top of the mountain to look upon the children of CAIN from morning until evening, upon what they did, upon their beautiful dresses and ornaments. And then the children of CAIN looked up from below, saw the children of Seth standing in troops on the top of the mountain, and they called to them to come down to them. But the children of Seth said unto them from above, We don't know the way. Then Jabal, the son of Lamech the blind, heard them say they did not know the way, and he bethought himself how he might bring them down. And then Satan appeared to him by night, saying, There is no way for them to come down from the mountain on which they dwell. But when they come tomorrow, say to them, Come ye to the western side of the mountain, and there you will find the way of a stream of water that comes down to the foot of the mountain between two hills. Come down that way to us. Then, when it was day, Jabal blew the horns and beat the drums below the mountain as he was wont. And the children of Seth heard it and came as they used to do. And then Ganun said to them from down below, Go to the western side of the mountain. There you'll find the way to come down. But when the children of Seth heard these words from him, they went back to the cave to Jared. Yeah, that's right. It makes out in this story that they lived in the cave of treasures. That's where Jared was. Jared was a sixth from Adam. So they went back to Jared to tell him all they'd heard. But when Jared heard it, he was grieved, for he knew that they would transgress his counsel. After this, 100 men of the children of Seth gathered together and said among themselves, Come, let us go down to the children of CAIN, see what they do, enjoy ourselves with them. But when Jared heard this of the 100 men, his very soul was moved and his heart was grieved. He then arose with great fervor and stood in the midst of them and adjured them by the blood of Abel the just, Let not one of you go down from this holy and pure mountain, in which our fathers have ordered us to dwell. But when Jared saw that they did not receive his words, he said unto them, O my good and innocent and holy children, Know that when once you go down this holy mountain, God will not allow you to return again to it. And he again adjured them, saying, I adjure you by the death of our father Adam, by the blood of Abel, Seth, of ENOCH, CAIN, and of Mahalalel, to hearken to me, and not go down from this holy mountain. For the moment you leave it, you will be bereft of life and of mercy, and you will no longer be called children of God, but children of the devil. But they would not hearken to his words. Enoch at that time was already grown up in his zeal for God. He arose and said, Hear me, O ye sons of Seth, small and great. When you transgress the commandments of our fathers, and go down from this holy mountain, you shall not come up hither again forever. But they rose up against Enoch, would not hearken to his words, but went down from the holy mountain. And when they looked at the daughters of Cain, at their beautiful figures, and at their hands and feet dyed with colour, tattooed and ornaments on their faces, the fire of sin was kindled in them. Then Satan made them look most beautiful before the sons of Seth, as he also made the sons of Seth appear of the fairest in the eyes of the daughters of Cain. So the daughters of Cain lusted after the sons of Seth like ravenous beasts, and the sons of Seth after the daughters of Cain, till they committed abomination with them. Well, I want to bring out here, well, of course, normal relationship between a man and a woman. There's no abomination there. There's no sin there. But this is not that. This is something else. This is extreme lust. It's like some sort of monster. It says like ravenous beasts. It's something really demonic, you know. It's not a normal relationship between a man and a woman. It's just something totally different, something very dangerous. But after they had thus fallen into this defilement, they returned by the way they had come, tried to ascend the holy mountain, but they could not, because the stones of the holy mountain were of fire flashing before them, by reason of which they could not go up again. God was angry with them and repented of them, because they had come down from glory, and thereby lost or forsaken their own purity or innocence, and were fallen into the defilement of sin. Then God sent his word to Jared, saying, These thy children, whom thou didst call my children, behold, they have transgressed my commandment, and have gone down to the abode of perdition and of sin. Send a messenger to those who are left, they may not go down and be lost. Then Jared wept before the Lord, and asked of him mercy and forgiveness, but he wished that his soul might depart from his body, rather than hear these words from God about the going down of his children from the holy mountain. But he followed God's order and preached unto them not to go down from the holy mountain, not to hold intercourse with the children of Cain. But they heeded not his message, would not obey his counsel. And that's the end of the chapter. It's quite a sad story. It was very sad for Jared. Very, very interesting though. And those were early days after creation. You're only talking about like 400 years after creation. That was the state of the world. Pretty bad already. It wasn't for another 1500 years that the flood came. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. You can read that in the Lost Books, Adam and Eve, or from my book, Eden Insights, based on the Lost Books, Adam and Eve. Has a lot of biblical cross-references and has a lot of references also to other apocryphal books and a lot of comments and commentaries. Well, thanks for listening, and I would encourage people to get my books, which are based on the apocryphal books, most of them. Enoch Insights, Jash Insights, Book 1 and 2, Jubilees Insights, Eden Insights, based on the Lost Books, Adam and Eve. And then you've got the Testament of 12 Patriarchs Insights. That's an amazing book too. Amazing stories about the sons of Jacob. And then finally, Esdras Insights. And I had also two books on the paranormal out the bottom split, Book 1 and 2. So thanks for listening. Bye for now.